As we concluded the iPad study here at USF, we had some willing participants graciously offer their time to be interviewed regarding their experiences with the iPad, and particularly the iPad in education. Here in this video, we'd like to offer you some excerpts of those interviews.
So I definitely feel the most valuable aspect of this experience for me was the collaboration with colleagues in the cohort, in different cohorts, and I think that the iPad was obviously the catalyst for that, but also made it an experience that we as faculty, staff, folks committed to utilizing technology in different ways could really connect around. And for me as a teacher and a teacher educator working with folks who work with youth in schools, I think that that's a really fabulous model to think of around technology, and perhaps the iPad as well, is what are ways to connect groups of students, schools, teachers and students, communities around technology and the use of technology.
When there's Dawn's Fest, which is at the in the gym where there are no computers, and you're supposed to advise 100 students a day and there's no computers, the iPad is perfect. You show them what classes they are, you show them what they do. We had little images connected to the classes we're offering, so we could show them flyers and things like that. So it's really a portable office in that sense. I have given presentations at the opera of small groups of students with the iPad, taking it with me and sitting on the steps of the opera house, showing them a presentation about what they were about to see. So that's another thing you can do with the iPad, being that it's so small and so portable.
I know there's been a lot of discussion about the iPad, especially over whether it's something for consumption or the creation of content. Obviously, it's been great for consuming a lot of media for me and for other people, but it's also been a useful content creation tool. I'm a big fan of, in particular, the iWork suite. So I use Pages and Keynote, and I'm starting to use Numbers, and I use Keynote, and for me personally, using Keynote on the iPad has allowed me to liberate myself from my wonderful laptop and to go to conferences and present using my iPad in the classroom, and presenting as well presentations directly from my iPad that I constructed using Keynote on my iPad, not with my laptop. So I have used it to be creative and to create specific content for conferences and on my classroom.
I was really excited when I first got the news that I was part of the iPad study, in part because, of course, the iPad is very shiny and new and fun. I had high hopes for it. I teach classes in communication and culture and ethnography of communication, so our students go out into the field a lot and they have to do audio recording and take notes, and they try to do so in a discrete fashion so that they act as participant observers, so they're not sitting there in the middle of something taking notes. So that was what I was really excited about using the iPad for. What I actually found as part of the study is that I enjoyed using the iPad more for my own research than I did for teaching. So what I found is because we got the iPads in the summer, I was mostly working on new research projects, and as a social scientist, most of my research comes in the form of journal articles. So typically what I would do is print out 40 or 50 PDF articles, have a big stack, highlight them, and go back and forth. And what I found is with the iPad, I used a program or an app called iAnnotate, and I was able to upload all of those PDFs into there, annotate them, and then call them up as I needed them for the research project. So for research purposes, in terms of doing literature searches and things like that, it was amazing. I now have, I think, over 700 PDF files on here, and it's saving my office here at school and at home from exploding in printing. I've become paperless, so my other goal in terms of teaching was to try to go paperless.
So we don't have a lot of options in clinical. If you have to put in an intravenous line on a patient and your mind is completely blank, the instructor can't send you back to USF to the skills lab to look at the equipment, to do the video and things. So Greg and I thought it might be really interesting to see what if we took all of the videos that we use in the skills lab, and they're 2 or 3 minute, mostly procedure videos. What if we took all of them and we loaded them on the iPad? In addition to that, we loaded some other important resources, something called Hippocrates, Medscape, so that students could look up drugs, they could look up procedures, they could do a really quick, oh my God, I forgot what that disease is, they could quickly look it up. So we loaded all of that onto the iPad, and then we thought, is there anything else we might need? And given where we are in San Francisco and given where our students go to clinical, we added some forward and backwards translation software. So we added Mandarin, Cantonese, Spanish, and we paid money for these because these were the software programs that allowed you to type something in. It would not only translate it into the language, it would also give you the option of playing it as an audio. Then you could hand the iPad to the patient, and the patient could type in their response and backwards translate it.
I'll bring up one. So this is Adobe Ideas, but it's very easy to kind of just draw things. If you're trying to do this in a class, it can be really nice. Maybe I'll come back to that in a moment. But there's various drawing options, and they can be really wonderful. Most of them will allow you to bring in a photograph of something and annotate on top of that. So that can be good. My frustration with this is actually twofold if I was going to go forward. So this program is reminding, this is just a bunch of junk here right now, but this program is reminding me that not all the programs allow you to put something on a projector. So this is great outside the classroom if I want to send this to students, but this won't go up on a projector. So you really kind of have to choose your applications really carefully right now, and sometimes actually the best application for the job won't show up on an overhead, so it's a little frustrating. And the other thing I'm noticing is even if it shows up on a projector, which is great, you attach it with this device that goes in here, and that attachment actually is not all that secure. So it's okay if this stays still, it's really not a problem. It won't fall out on its own, but if you move this at all, it's easy to disconnect it. And where I'm going with that is then this becomes no longer what it is. It becomes like a laptop. So what I would love is for everything to be able to be projected in a classroom wherever you are, and to be able to use this like wirelessly. So I could actually walk around a room or seeing something up in front, and then I can be moving or annotating.
See, as the future, though, is touchscreen technology is years ahead of, in the laboratory, and also what some research companies are doing are years ahead of what the iPad uses, and that is to be able to use your fingers and manipulate the data and actually organize the data and be able to say go into the internet and grab data, pull it into a file and organize it in some kind of useful manner. I see that's the direction that we need to go in the next 5 or 10 years. So again, using the iPad now in an educational setting is really, I'm not sure it's any better than a PC, but the direction that we're going with the iPad can be phenomenal. And being able to use the touch interface and having the access of the world through the internet at your fingertips can bring amazing and enormous productivity to the learning experience.